Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. I'm headlining Chicago, Zany, St. Charles, downtown, and Rosemont, February 21 through March. And then Progressive Comedy Tour. We're coming to the Gulf States, March 10th through the 13th. Ron Placone and I, we're going to be in Lafayette, Louisiana, Oxford, Mississippi, Pensacola, Florida, and guess what? New Orleans. Come to the Progressive Comedy shows, guys. Cities that sell out are cities we will return to. We don't have that great of a turnout. It's hard to justify coming back to that market again, just so you know. April, we're coming to Texas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. Check that out. April 12, 13, 14, 15. May 11 and 12, we're in Salt Lake City. May 13th, we're in Boise, Idaho. And then East Coast Tour is coming to you June. We're adding more dates to the East Coast Tour, so please check that out. Go to grahamelwood.com. So there's just more insanity here from people who call themselves journalists online who are neoliberals. So Shane Bauer said, this is Tulsi Gabbard tweeted, Jimmy Dore keeping it real. He did a video about all the smears about Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I've done a video where I interviewed Peter Frederick about her Hindutva and Hindu nationalism and how she's gotten money from that. I'm going to do more videos on that. Some people were critical of that and called Peter, he's a racist and I must be a racist for having him on. That's where I'm going to keep asking questions. It doesn't make me a racist to ask questions from someone who is showing me evidence that if there's another side of it, I'll gladly have them on. But I want to have reasonable discussions, debates. This is insanity. Shane Bauer, who's a writer for Mother Jones, right? Big liberal, left-leaning, supposedly, just a presidential candidate, boasting a 9/11 truther, so he's calling Jimmy Dore a 9/11 truther, who has said the U.S. funded ISIS, the poisoning of Skripal was false flag, and who has suggested the Las Vegas shooting was fake. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about here. A 9/11 truther? Oh man, I'm sure he just asked one question, but I want to focus on this. Said the U.S. funded ISIS. Right? So are you for war then, Shane? Is that what you're for? With the glasses and the beard, you're for war? I look at his Twitter feed and he's got all these things critical of Trump and everything, but then this insanity. And this is what I responded because this really offends me. Serena Shim uncovered U.S. helped ISIS into Syria and was killed for it. I did a video last year about Serena Shim. Okay? We're going to go into who she was and how reckless this guy's tweets are. You don't like Jimmy Dore, you don't want to agree with him? Fine. You don't like Tulsi Gabbard, she's not a candidate for you, but don't push this fucking crap. These neoliberal idiots don't realize that they're like warmongers. They're pushing for war. My concern with Tulsi Gabbard is maybe she'll be too hawkish if she gets elected. So you want just war? They're so out of their minds. There's no anti-war movement on the left. Don't call yourself liberal. Say you're a pro-choice, pro-gay marriage warmonger. Say that. Say you're for equal rights and war. Say that. Don't tell me you're liberal. Because if you're on the left, you should be against war. But I doubt Shane Bauer grew up where people had to go to war, where kids from his high school just had to join the military because there was no jobs there. Because I doubt that he grew up in any sort of working class environment. American journalist killed in Turkey for revealing the truth regarding ISIS. Do you want to know who Serena Shim was? We're going to do another This Is for Shane and everyone over at Mother Jones who probably doesn't know who she was. A journalist was killed for discovering that the U.S. was helping ISIS, getting them into Syria. So the Syria war is bullshit. If you were an actual journalist, you would do some digging. You wouldn't just immediately call somebody a 9/11 truther. You would just throw these things out there. So you're okay with journalists getting killed. You know what happened to Khashoggi in Turkey? It happened to Serena Shim, but no one was screaming about it. She was at the time reporting on Ain al-Arab Kobani from the Turkish side. She was, in her own words, one of the first, if not the first, on the ground to report on Takfiri militants going in through the Turkish border. These include not only ISIS, but also terrorists from the so-called Free Syrian Army. She's American born, by the way. She grew up in Michigan. She called the Free Syrian, as Shim's sister, Fatima Shim, started in 2015. She stated in this 2015. She caught them bringing in ISIS high-ranked members into Syria from Turkey into camps, which are supposed to be Syrian refugee camps. And she was murdered, and there's been no investigation. I'm so sick of the neoliberal selective outrage. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. You know who told me about Serena Shim? Susie Dawson, who I've interviewed on this show. Susie Dawson, who started the Unity for J thing. You know, Julian Assange, who's a political prisoner because he's a whistleblower. Not all, it's WikiLeaks. And he's been accused of all. You're a journalist, Shane. Do you want to get jailed? Do you want to get murdered? Oh, wait. You won't be, because you're pushing the war machine's nonsense, even though it's through a so-called liberal thing of Mother Jones. You're safe, Shane, as long as you just criticize Trump and play that thing. It's fine to criticize Trump, but you won't look deep. You won't look deep, because if you look deep, you get killed. So then you got to make these ridiculous accusations. Although all signs point to foul play, indeed murder by Turkish intelligence, until now the U.S. government has neither conducted nor demanded an inquiry into the events of the alleged car accident, which Turkish officials say was the cause of Shim's death, let alone offer condolences to the family. She had a very mysterious car accident, and there's been no investigation about it. Now, am I pushing the crazy ISIS theory? A journalist was murdered because she uncovered this. And again, I was told this information by Susie Dawson. Susie Dawson is a self-proclaimed New Zealand soccer mom who uncovered that the NSA and the FBI and American agencies were working in New Zealand. She uncovered all this stuff. I'm not doing the work she's done justice here. Forgive me, Susie. But basically uncovered that the NSA, all this stuff about the NSA doing work in New Zealand, which is against New Zealand law. They harassed her, they threatened, they cut her, messed with her car. She had to flee with her children to Berlin, and now she's living in Moscow because they've threatened her life. And Moscow is the only place she's safe. And she's now called a Russian asset because she just uncovered the truth. She got involved in the Occupy movement in New Zealand. She told me about Serena Shim because nobody here's talking about it. Because Shane, you're not talking about it. Rachel Maddow's not talking about it. Certainly no one at Fox News is going to talk about it. You think you're some justice warrior? Here's what Serena Shim said in 2013. Turkey's pivotal role in Syria's insurgency, Press TV report from inside Turkey, showed footage of what she estimated to be 300 semi-trucks awaiting militants to empty them out, including testimonial explaining how Turkey enables the crossing of foreign terrorists freely into Syria. Spoke of the funneling of arms via the Incirlik U.S. air base in Turkey through an American air base. So when Jimmy Dore says this, when all of us find this information, Putin doesn't give us this information, we find it ourselves, that we're backing ISIS and Al-Qaeda in Syria because Syria is all about a pipeline, man. It ain't about Putin. It's about a pipeline. It's not about, oh, I love Assad. Oh, yeah, he's a bad guy. He's a dictator. But the resistance, we go on and on about how awful ISIS is, and then we back them against Syria. That's how the United States operates because we want to put a pipeline through Syria with the Saudi oil. Iran and Russia want their own pipeline, and Syria is letting them in. It's about oil. So I don't know, how do I know more than you do? I'm a comedian. I got this thing when I went, I'm a surfer comedian. How can I know more information than you? You work at Mother Jones, you're a paid journalist? And you say this? Yeah, Jimmy Dore's my friend, but even if he wasn't, I would agree with him. And now look at Serena Shim. She was murdered for uncovering this. Through a United States air base, in refugee camps, or on through to Syria, and highlighted the issue of terrorist training camps portrayed as refugee camps guarded by the Turkish military. She has video footage of this. Do a little research. If I'm wrong, if I'm a dumb 9/11 truther, Russian bot, Kremlin apologist, Assad lover, whatever you want to call me, then prove me wrong. These are quotes from her before they murdered her. Journalist murdered that nobody cares about in the West. Turkey has been labeled by Reporters Without Borders as the largest prison for journalists. Unless you're neoliberals hiding out at Mother Jones and just smearing comedians because you don't have the fucking balls to go do real journalism, then you're all right. So I'm a bit frightened about what they might use against me. I'm hoping that nothing is going to happen, that it's going to blow over. I would assume that they are going to take me in for questioning. And the next hope is that my lawyer is good enough to get me out as soon as possible. 2 days later, Press TV announced her death, stating Serena was killed in a reported car accident when she was returning from a report seen in the city of Circuit in Turkey's Ufir province. She was going back to her hotel in Urfa when their car collided with a heavy vehicle. So when you make those claims, you're dangerous. You're making it unsafe for journalists. You're not good. You're not doing good work. And you're pushing for war. And you're helping the American empire deceive all of us. So I tell you what, why don't you do a little more research and actually be a journalist rather than going after a nightclub comic who's doing his job better than you. Thanks for watching the show. Support me on the Patreon because I don't work for Mother Jones or MSNBC or Fox News.